Let's get ready to go receive my high school diploma. You did hear that right. This old broad is graduating high school. So I'm not gonna lie, I have no idea what I'm about to do with my face. Sorry if there is a little bit of noise. My fan is on because I'm sweating my bits and pieces off, all right? Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I wasn't gonna record because I was like, no, Caitlin, just enjoy this moment, blah, blah, blah. And then I put my earrings in and I was like, well, I look cute, so where do I even begin? Well, I guess the first thing I can say is that it has taken me 14 years to graduate high school. Yeah. Now, technically, I got my GED. However, state of Kansas recognizes a GED as a high school diploma, an alternative to a high school diploma, equivalent in education? I don't know. So yes, how am I almost 30 years old and just now graduating high school? Well, let me tell you. So the short story of the matter is when I was 15, I was in my sophomore year of high school and I ended up getting sick. I actually ended up missing about 3 weeks of school, and when I came back, the principal and like the counselor ended up telling me that I had missed so much school that it would be practically pointless for me to continue coming for the rest of the semester and to come back after winter break. Now this was practically an answered prayer because I was a very depressed and anxious 15-year-old that had absolutely no friends at school, and I essentially was just told that I get a 2-month vacation. This was the first semester of the school year, so I believe I left in like October and I was supposed to come back the following January. But nay, that did not happen. No, so I was actually having a conversation with my dad and he said, hey kid, you could get a GED. My silly undeveloped brain was like, what's that? And after some conversation, he ended up telling me that a GED is essentially the equivalent of a high school diploma, and I would not have to go back to high school. Now, I'm sure you could probably gather if a 2-month break from school was an answered prayer, never having to go back was absolute heaven. Essentially, I just said, sign me up. Don't get me wrong, I have no regrets. Any and all decisions that I have ever made have shaped me into the person that I am today, and I needed those lived experiences. But I do think that if I knew what I know today back then, I would have made a different choice. Almost immediately after I turned 16, I obviously did not end up getting my GED. Instead, I actually ended up getting a full-time job. Wow. It started as part-time and then I got accepted to go full-time. I feel like when girls contour their bottom lip, it turns out really cute. And then when I do it, it looks like I have like a, what is that called? Like the little patch. So after that time, I ended up working for a while, got another job and another job and then another job and another job. I had mainly worked in like retail and food service. And in doing so, I kept working my way up in these jobs. Starting as a server, making my way up to a bartender, a shift lead, assistant manager, and so then ultimately ended up working my way to a general manager. For the longest time, I thought, well, this is fantastic because I never needed to go to school in order to become successful. And it took me years to get to that mindset. For me, it went to show that hard work really does pay off. And for a very, very long time, I was fine with that. I was actually very proud of that. I still am very proud of that. And then one day I realized I no longer wanted to work in food service. Being a general manager where I was, my initial response there was to cry. I did not have the best time as a general manager. And I'll be honest, I was not put in the best position either. Some people can disagree with that. I don't care. This is my story, okay? But ultimately, I do believe I got the short end of the stick in that offer. And it's just so funny looking back because I remember I had a friend at the time that was so upset and so jealous that I got that position because we were friends from where we had worked together before. And he was so mad that I had gotten this opportunity. And there was one night that he was so drunk and out of it that he kept calling and texting me and blowing up my phone saying how much I did not deserve this position. Brother, I will tell you what, if I had known what I know now back then, I would have wrapped that job offer up and tied it with a bow and happily, eagerly handed it to him. You know, safe to say that job was a nightmare. When I had realized that I had finally had enough, that was when I decided that I would actually do the one thing that I had been looking into for the past 4 or 5 years, and that was converting my car into a micro camper and moving across the country. Now, of course, when I ended up actually doing it and moving, I started a YouTube channel. I so badly, and still do, wanted to get big on there because I feel like I have always wanted to share my story, have a story to tell, but I never had the confidence, and at this point in my life, I just don't care anymore. So I did end up starting my YouTube channel in February of 2024. Is it a terrible idea to try out a purple blush for the first time when you're about to go walk across the stage and graduate? I guess we'll find out. Now, I will say when I got to Arizona, I did have a little bit of savings in my bank account, but I went through that a lot faster than I thought I would. Now, with my plans not going accordingly, ran out of money, and then I needed to start looking for a job. When I tell you I applied for absolutely everything I could before food service, and then I was left with no option because I still had a car payment and I was running out of money. Now, I will say that the job I ended up getting in Arizona is actually how I got the job that I have currently, and I love my job, okay? I absolutely love my job. And I've never been able to say that before. However, one thing that I really like about my job is that when you get hired on, they literally tell you, we know that not everybody is going to do this job forever, and we don't want you to, because we want you to follow your passions. But while you're here, make the best of it while you can. Now, even though I absolutely love my job, I also know that it's not where I want to be for the rest of my life. As of right now, I actually only work about half the year, and when I'm working, I travel, which is quite literally an answered prayer from the big guy, because I asked him, God, please just let me make money while traveling. Now, I thought that that would be my YouTube channel, but my plans are not his plans. It was last summer that I actually started thinking about, you know, my future and what I wanted out of my life. And I kid you not, the one thing that I thought sounded like the best idea in the world was being an art teacher. And the way that I came up with that idea is actually really, really odd, but really funny to me. I tried on a pair of sunglasses. So, as one does, like I do, I went on a massive rabbit hole, deep diving everything that I would need to become an art teacher. And I don't know if y'all knew this, but you kind of have to finish school in order to teach school. Shocker. So last year I ended up making the decision that if I was actually going to pursue something, I would have to get my GED. I had originally wanted to get it in August, like start classes in August, but it just didn't work out with my schedule at the time, so I ended up starting taking the classes in October. All in all, it ended up taking me about 4 months to fully complete, because if anybody doesn't know, your GED is not just one test that you take and you have your high school diploma. It is actually a grouping of 4 tests that you have to take. I am very, very, very thankful for this program, because not only was I able to complete all 4 tests within 4 months, but they actually were so kind and I was able to work around my schedule because I was still traveling, working while getting my GED. But in February, right before I was about to go on another work trip, I ended up taking my last test, which was math, my least favorite subject. And if I can, I'll put the video somewhere of the moment that I found out if I had passed or not. I was definitely nervous. That's an understatement. If there is anything that I can say to like encourage somebody that is struggling or feels like there's not really hope, or, you know, things are just going to crap, right? Just downhill all the way. It's never too late. It's really not. I'm almost 30 years old and I'm just now getting my high school diploma. But I'll be damned if I tell you that I'm not proud of myself. Moral of the story is that it's never too late to go after the things that you want. And no, I'm not leaving my hair like this. I have to go fix it.